Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another field strip video. And today's field strip is going to be on a really cool and high quality gun from B&T. This is the APC223. Now if you're familiar with the APC9 or the APC45, those are just direct blowback and they're very easy to take apart. But I wanted to make this video because it does have a piston system in it and a little bit different takedown when it comes to the bolt. So let's go ahead and take this thing down. Let's first drop the magazine. Let's ensure that there is no ammunition in that magazine. Set that aside. We'll then turn the gun to the other side and we are going to ensure that chamber is empty. We will visually inspect it and it definitely looks like we are clear. Coming back to this other side of the gun, we're now going to take the lower off. And for this, you might need a little tool. You might need a punch because sometimes these captive pins can be a little bit tough. It is important to note that in order to get out the rear pin, if you have a telescoping brace or stock, it has to be fully closed, not extended. So we can go ahead and push out this pin here in the back, make sure it comes all the way out. Then we can go to the pin in the front and push that out. And now we should be able to remove the lower receiver from the upper. There we go, that's all you need for that. We'll set that aside. Then we can pull down on the brace. It should come straight off of the firearm, just like that. We will then reach for the charging handle. We will pull this back almost to the rear, and then we can pull this charging handle out of the bolt. Once we pull back on that recoil spring, there it goes. Then we can take out the recoil spring, set that aside as well, and then we can have the bolt come all the way out of the receiver. Now, in order to take down the bolt, this can be a little bit tricky if you look at it and you're looking for some type of firing pin retaining clip or something of that nature, but it doesn't have one. You simply grab the cam pin from its side and you pull the bolt back, and there's a little spot where it should simply pop out. It's kind of hard to find, so let me kind of mess with it here, and there we go. And now we should be able to pull out the whole bolt. And if you do want to take down the bolt further and you want to get to the firing pin, you simply have to push in the firing pin because it is retained by a spring, and then push out the pin. Now this can be a little bit tough, but it's not too bad. All right, so I think I have the wrong sized punch here, so let me change out real fast and let me get a smaller one. All right, so now I have a smaller punch. I thought I had gotten this one out before filming this video, but once you push in that firing pin, you can actually push this pin all the way out, just like that. There is that pin, set that aside, and then you can pull out the firing pin. And that's as far as we need to go there. Now let's go to the front of the upper receiver, and here we have our gas piston system. It does use a little detent in the front when you go between suppressed and unsuppressed. You might be able to use your fingertip to push this in and rotate it. If not, you can use one of the punches, but I think I can get it with my fingertip. You push in on the detent, and you're gonna have to rotate this 180 degrees, and the cup should come out. Now, some people say that this is a little bit tough to get out, and when I did get this out, there was a lot of carbon buildup and it was a little bit hard to get out, but after cleaning it, it does pop out pretty easy. So here's the cup that is in the front. Then we have the actual piston, which can come off the op rod. And now we can pull out the op rod. And that is a completely disassembled APC223. So let me readjust the camera, get all these parts organized, and let's put this thing back together. All right, so we got these parts all organized, and I took a picture for the thumbnail. So let's put this gun back together. All right, let's start with the upper receiver, and we're going to put in the op rod first. Gotta make sure it goes the right way. And this can actually be a little bit tricky, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get this on camera. It's a little bit tough to get in there and make sure it gets into the channel correctly, but I think I got it. Let me move it around a little bit here. There we go. It's definitely in there. Then we're going to put in the piston, and you can make sure it's in there right, if it has spring tension, just like that. Then we're going to put in the little cup in the front. Got to make sure it has the flat end towards the bottom. Takes it a second. There we go. Push that in, and then you can rotate it. Might have to push that detent to get it back into the setting that you want. In this case, it will be unsuppressed. So now the whole piston system is back in the firearm. Now we're going to go to the bolt and put all of this back together. Now this might take me a few minutes. This is a little bit tough. When you put the firing pin back into the bolt, you'll notice that the pin that retains it is on one side. It's not directly in the center, and this is going to correspond to a little divot that is milled out in the firing pin, and you want those two things to line up. So the firing pin has to go in a specific way, and you have to rotate it and make sure it will line up just like that. So we'll go ahead and put in that pin a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's lined up pretty close to where it needs to be. And so what I have found that works well is on the side where you have to put in the retaining pin, you kind of start it. Now it's not going to go in, and this spring is really tough. So the way that I've gotten this to fit, if everything is lined up, if I put the bolt onto the workbench like this, and if I depress the firing pin with a punch, eventually I can get it to go in far enough where the retaining pin will fit. So let's see if I can do this, and hopefully everything is lined up correctly. So if I push that all the way in, it might go. This is just the tricky part of it all right here. And there we go. I got it to fit. And of course, make sure it goes in all the way. And now we got the firing pin back in that bolt. Then let's put it into the bolt carrier. All right, then we're going to line that up correctly with the camming surface. And of course, you got to make sure that your extractor is facing the right side. And once we have that lined up, then we can take the cam pin and insert this just like we did earlier. And it should slide in once everything is lined up, and we are good to go. And that is the reassembled bolt. Then we can go back to the upper receiver, put this in. Don't put it in too far because you want to line up where the charging handle is going to go. Put in the charging handle. Make the bolt go home. Then we can put in the recoil spring assembly. Fit that in. Make sure it goes all the way in. Then we're going to take the brace. To install it, I will fully extend it. Then we will put it into the rear of the upper receiver and push up. Then you're going to want to make sure that you close it, because that's the only way this pin in the back will go on to the firearm. Then make sure that your pins here that are captive are all the way out. Put the lower on the upper receiver, just like that. I'll start with the front first. Make sure everything is lined up. There we go. And then we'll go to the back and push that all the way through. Make sure that works. Let's charge the gun. Make sure everything's operating like it should. Let's insert the magazine. Bolt holds open, and we are good to go. And that is a complete field strip and disassembly of a B&T APC223. It's definitely a lot more complex than miniguns, and why I wanted to do a field strip video to hopefully help somebody in the future. So let me know if you have any questions, and as always, thanks for watching.